Our main problem is to be free. It is evident then that until we realize ourselves as the Absolute, we cannot attain to deliverance. Yet, there are various ways of attaining to this realization. These methods have the generic name of yoga, means to join ourselves to the reality. These yogas, though divided into various groups, can principally be classed into four, and as each is only a method leading indirectly to the realization of the Absolute, they are suited to different temperaments. Now, it must be remembered that it is not that the assumed man becomes the real man or Absolute. There is no becoming with the Absolute. It is ever free, ever perfect. But the ignorance that has covered its nature for a time is to be removed. Therefore, the whole scope of all systems of yoga is to clear up this ignorance and allow the Atman to restore its own nature. The chief helps in this liberation are Abhyasa and Vairagya. Vairagya is non-attachment to life, because it is the will to enjoy that brings all bondages in its train. And Abhyas is constant practice of any one of the yogas. First is Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga is purifying the mind by means of work. Now if any work is done, good or bad, it must produce as a result a good or bad effect. No power can stay it, once the cause is present. Therefore, good action producing good karma and bad action bad karma. The soul will go on in eternal bondages without ever hoping for deliverance. Now karma belongs only to the body or the mind, never to the Atman or the self. Only it can cast a veil before the Atman. The veil cast by bad karma is ignorance. Good karma has the power to strengthen the moral powers, and thus it creates non-attachment. It destroys the tendency towards bad karma and thereby purifies the mind. But if the work is done with the intention of enjoyment, it then produces only that very enjoyment and does not purify the mind or chitta. Therefore, all work should be done without any desire to enjoy the fruits thereof. All fear and all desire to enjoy here and hereafter must be vanished forever by the karma yogi. Moreover, this karma without desire of return will destroy the selfishness, which is the root of all bondage. The watchword of the karma yoga is not I, but thou. And no amount of self-sacrifice is too much for him. But he does this without any desire to go to heaven or gain name or fame or any other benefit in this world. Although the explanation and rationale of this unselfish work is only in Jnana Yoga, yet the natural divinity of man makes him love all sacrifice simply for the good of others without any ulterior motive, whatever his creed or opinion. Again, with many, the bondage of wealth is very great, and karma yoga is absolutely necessary for them as breaking the crystallization that has gathered round their love of money. Next is Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti or worship or love in some form or other is the easiest, pleasantest and most natural way of man. The natural state of this universe is attraction, and that is surely followed by an ultimate disunion. Even so, love is the natural impetus of union in the human heart, and though itself a great cause of misery, properly directed towards the proper object, it brings deliverance. The object of bhakti is God. Love cannot be without a subject or an object. The object of love again must be at first a being who can reciprocate our love. Therefore, the God of love must be in some sense a human God. He must be a God of love. Aside from the question whether such a God exists or not, it is a fact that to those who have love in their heart, this Absolute appears as a God of love, as personal. The lower forms of worship, which embody the idea of God is a judge or punisher or someone to be obeyed through fear, do not deserve to be called love, although they are forms of worship gradually expanding into higher forms. We pass on to the consideration of love itself. We will illustrate love by a triangle, of which the first angle at the base is fearlessness. So long as there is fear, it is not love. Love banishes all fear. A mother with her baby will face a tiger to save the child. The second angle is that love never asks, never begs. The third or the apex is that love loves for the sake of love itself. Even the idea of object vanishes. Love is the only form in which love is loved. This is the highest abstraction and same as the absolute. Next is Raja Yoga. This yoga fits in with every one of these yogas. It fits inquirers of all classes with or without any belief, and it is the real instrument of religious inquiry. As each science has its particular method of investigation, so is this Raja Yoga the method of religion. This science also is variously applied according to various constitutions. The chief parts are the pranayama, concentration, and meditation. For those who believe in God, a symbolical name such as Om or other sacred words received from a guru will be very helpful. Om is the greatest, meaning the absolute. Meditating on the meaning of these holy names while repeating them is a chief practice. And the next is Jnana Yoga. This is divided into three parts. First, hearing the truth that the Atman is the only reality and that everything else is Maya. Second, reasoning upon this philosophy from all points of view. Third, giving up all further argumentation and realizing the truth. This realization comes from 1. Being certain that Brahman is real and everything else is unreal. 2. Giving up all desire for enjoyment. 3. Controlling the senses and the mind. 4. Intense desire to be free. Meditating on this reality always and reminding the soul of its real nature are the only ways in this yoga. It is the highest but most difficult. Many persons get an intellectual grasp of it, but very few attain realization.